All right. Well, welcome everyone to another amazing version of Taking Stock Live. I hope you are finding these conversations, these informal conversations about what's going on in the intersection of retail and technology as fascinating as I am with this incredible lineup of thought leaders. Today we have one of our own, Kitty Yeung. It's the first time we've actually met like this. An unbelievably impressive background, senior program manager in Microsoft quantum computing, who has a passion for obviously technology and fashion. And your resume, your CV, Kitty, it's so incredibly impressive. Harvard PhD, a master's in BA from Cambridge University. You're an author. You're a fashion brand owner, public speaker, and a self-confessed techie. I'm sure I missed something, but that's cool lineup. What did I miss?
Thank you so much, Shelley, for having me here. I'm so honored and excited to be talking to you. Well, you didn't miss anything really.
Okay.
My day job is in quantum computing at Microsoft, and I am a physicist. As you mentioned, I love fashion and art in general. So I drive the quantum computing education at the company, and I use art to communicate. So I actually recently, you mentioned I'm an author. I published this graphic novel book on quantum computing. So this is some project I did during COVID time, staying at home. So I use comics and sketches, drawings to communicate science. It's an engaging way to share with people.
That's incredible. So it seems like you've really found this way to bring these two, some might say, disparate passions of yours together between fashion and technology. How do you do that pragmatically?
I think science and art are actually very similar. They are all inspiring fields, and I try to do projects that integrates science, engineering, design, and art. So the two extremes are inspiring the middle practical fields like engineering and design. And at the middle, we can come up with great ideas and valuable materials and products that people will love. I think culture and art are really the way to communicate science and technology, and fashion is a perfect medium for that. So I've been designing clothing that literally has technology embedded in them. So that's one way of showing people how technologies work and what we can do with technology in this artistic field. So I try to work on these projects and have firsthand experience, like developing my brands and doing design and producing them.
Well, I have a long list of questions that I can't wait to ask you more about, but I can't move on until I ask you about what you're wearing right now and the colors I'm seeing. Can you explain that to all of us?
Yeah, thank you. So this is my own painting on the fabric, is all the constellations that we see in the sky. And I use LEDs to light up certain constellations. So I actually designed 12 constellations matched with people's horoscopes, and it's all astronomy constellations. It's using printed electronics. It's pretty new technology that's now embedded in this fashion design.
That's incredible. And, obviously, so now we've talked about technology, fashion, and of course, wearables. And I understand that a much bigger project actually came up at the Microsoft Hackathon. Is that right?
Yeah.
Will you tell us a little about it? I've actually never been to the Hackathon. I've always wanted to go. So I'd love to hear more about, what goes on and what you did on that front.
Yeah. The hackathon is a really exciting time at Microsoft. Every year we have this opportunity to work on something that we feel passionate about. And there are problems in our society that we want to solve them. So employees get together, we can bounce off ideas, we can get our hands dirty, actually building prototypes and build not just idea, but make it a reality. So since I've been exploring in the fashion industry, I experienced some first-hand pain points in this industry. So one of them is this pollution and waste problem that pretty much everyone in the industry knows about. There's a huge amount of overproduction of fashion designs. Every season, we try to come up with new things, but then usually they are overproduced offshore. Turned out, if we look up the number, it's quite shocking. 10% of carbon footprint globally comes from fashion industry, because we try to predict how much something can sell, and then they don't get sold. They send to landfill, or maybe they're burnt eventually. And 30% of clothes ever made are actually never sold. So that was something really shocking to me coming into the space, learning how manufacturing and production is currently run. And the other thing I experienced was how difficult it was to actually, as an independent designer, to turn my design ideas into reality. It could take a really long time, a lot of back and forth iterations, a lot of mistakes made in the sample making and production, because of the mass production model is not very supportive for creative designers who want to start with something interesting and small volume. So those are the two things I think that can really be solved using modern technologies. Maybe 10 years ago it's not possible, but now we have all the technologies that's we can connect them together. And Microsoft also already has all these technologies like AI, machine learning, computer vision, cloud computing, because we need to build an ecosystem to connect the supply chain together. So Hackathon was an opportunity for us to really experiment on this and really build something together. We came up with a project that's going to do mass customization on demand. So we're tackling all these pain points at the same time. We want to make the ecosystem that we can support creative designers to bring their ideas into actual products. So all their designs would be captured digitally, and it would cut off a lot of the waste and errors in the sample and prototyping process. And then we are connecting with manufacturers around the world in order to support these designers to turn their ideas into products, and very quickly. And we don't want to make them until consumers already want it. So it is going to leverage a lot of different technologies that Microsoft has, as well as our customers and partners in the fashion industry.
You know, as just listening to you talk, I think about my conversations with retailers every day. I think they probably have no idea of what Microsoft is doing and like what you're thinking about and how you're reimagining. Please do. And also, my understanding is this started in 2018. That was the first hackathon, and sort of it's been a year by year progression. So maybe sort of take us through this evolution as well.
Sure. So we started very small. It's just like any startup with a couple of friends, colleagues in the company. We thought that actually we at Microsoft can already do this, but we haven't seen anyone doing something similar. And then there's this emergent problem that we're trying to solve, like cutting down the waste and pollution. So it's a very small group. When we started in 2018, we entered a hackathon. We built something simple and proof of concept. And then 2019, I pitched it to a much broader audience in the company. And it kind of started a movement in the company. More than 60 employees around the world joined us. And from all kinds of backgrounds, engineers, designers, and some people even have fashion design background. And we have sales and marketing team members joining us. So we were able to bring our ideas into something more tangible, and we built a proof of concept and use our actually internal makerspace to build some hands-on clothes making process. And then this year we had a really great year. We had 3 customers joining us. So Hydra Money, which is our manufacturing partnering customer in Sri Lanka. And we had Codes Digital, that's supporting from the supply chain side. And then we had Browseware that does the simulation from 2D design to 3D. So we are able to connect from the front end. So we build a designer and consumer website where designers can upload their designs all online. Is a bit like a GitHub for fashion, where they can store and share their ideas. They can keep the designs in their own account, or they can share it if they want to have contributions from other designers. And that is then being turned from 2D to 3D. So all those computation will be run on Microsoft Cloud. Then the design can be visualized by the designers if they're happy with the prototyping is all done digitally. And then they can open it up to the marketplace where consumers can directly look at the designs and do virtual try-on. And that could leverage our AR technology, for example. And then we are working with Browseware to also bring up this virtual try-on API. And then also supply chain side, Codes Digital can do the calculation upfront, how much this design could cost. We can even allow consumers to say, I want this kind of color, I want this kind of sleeve, I want this kind of bodies. They can do mix and match. They can actually customize on the shopping website. So we're changing both the manufacturing and the retail experience and to meet the on-demand production. So we're very lucky to have all these very innovative customers joining us, and we consulted with London College of Fashion, our partner, as well. So yeah, I think it was really great, and we're pushing forward. And a big shout out to Piomi from Hydra Money, who just got named on the Revet Top 50 list. So we are very fortunate to have all these innovative partners and customers working with us.
I mean, it's incredible having grown up in retail, which at times can be a somewhat, slower moving industry. The impact, as you said, to sustainability and our planet of, 30% never gets worn, 10% of CO2. So like, there's just that piece, but just bringing down the walls between, the consumer and inspiration and production, and creating, as you said, this more open ecosystem.
Yeah.
It's, it's revolutionary. And I would imagine some of these, I would say, I always look for those trailblazing customers that are, willing to sign up when things are newer. But I assume you're, and part of what might be helpful is you're looking for new customers to sign up to work with us on this project. Where are you on that?
We have been working with a lot of fashion brands. We are reaching out to some of the independent designers, as well as big fashion brands that we would like to first, we want to understand their exact problems. As I mentioned, all those pain points that the industry experience and I myself also experience were something that we already had an idea to build solutions for, but we also are interviewing and talking to fashion designers to also understand exactly during their current process, what are the additional pain points they are having. So we are hoping to bring the different types of designers and fashion brands to work with us to build this complete ecosystem with us. So fashion industry has, as you mentioned, Shelley, could be segmented. A lot of is a traditional industry, and it's got a lot of long history and the legacy way of working. So we are helping at every point and trying to use technologies to upgrade the process. So eventually we want to get to this ecosystem where we can allow the production to be driven by art and needs. So people like fashion because they enjoy the art and its beauty, and it should be driven by what people need. And we have seen this during the COVID time as well. A lot of the production has shifted to manufacturing has shifted to PPE making. That's an immediate show of demand-driven production. So we are trying to meet the needs, and we can imagine this can drive a long-term revolution in all kinds of physical goods production.
I mean, that's incredible. And I love what you said about art and need, because at its core, when retail is good, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, and in some ways, I think the technology fades away, and it's just this incredible experience. You're in the middle of solving some very big problems and challenges in the world, not just in retail and fashion, and have made some real progress. But you strike me as someone who's always like looking for what's next. What's out there for you?
So we think that this can drive a new industrial revolution, as you mentioned, for consumer goods and supply chain infrastructure. And it is powered by Microsoft Azure and AI technologies. So we focus on fashion right now because it is in their need of innovation. And we have seen how COVID hit this industry really hard. So it's a really big opportunity for the whole industry to immediately start shifting the way that it's been running. And we are passionate about the fashion industry, both in terms of the physical goods itself. It touches everyone, is very personal, but it's also driven by the demand to protect our environment. So we think this way of thinking, on-demand mass customization, can be expanded to a broader industry as well. So pretty much, I think all physical goods can utilize this, implement this.
I agree. On-demand mass customization. So I would imagine, I know I speak to a customer every day. Mm-hmm. There are many companies out there that would be screaming for solutions like this. Mm-hmm. And there's only one kitty, I think. At least for now, out too. But how do our teams or customers learn more about what you're doing?
I think they can get in touch with our account managers in their region, and if they're interested in learning more about this project and the technologies that we've been using, and want to join us and co-develop, we would love to be in touch.
Kitty, it's incredible what you're doing. And I think at the end of the day, one of the biggest challenges that retailers are having right now is the consumer is moving so fast. We're all changing so much. And they often talk to me about how they feel kind of out of touch with just the pace at which the consumer is changing. Will you talk a little bit about how you think this technology, really your perspective, changes that for retailers and brands?
Yeah, exactly. So our solution would also provide the fashion brands the direct input from their customers. So we probably always been guessing how much some goods will sell and trying to have some predictive model to estimate the sales and inventory. But we are turning it around by letting consumers directly inform the brands and manufacturers what they want. So we can allow consumers who come to the shopping website to directly upload images that they like and fashion designs that they see somebody else wearing that they want to modify. They can even do customization on the website. And we have the backend to calculate how much each piece will cost based on the changes and optimize the production supply chain. So in this way, we can directly have brands know what their consumers want and offer exactly the perfect customized clothes, both in terms of the look and as well as the fit.
It's great. I mean, it just breaks down the silos, which is exactly what brands want. Kitty, it has been inspiring to have this time with you. Thank you so much for joining us for Taking Stock Live. I really cannot wait to see where you go next and how you lead and teach us. So this won't be the last of our conversations, but for now, I just really want to thank you for sharing your perspective and your thinking on Taking Stock Live. And for all of you out there who have tuned in, a thank you to you for your time. I think it's been an incredible conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Shelley. It's been an honor talking to you.